Let me give another example. Let's say we talk about studying vocabulary. You study vocabulary in context. You want to study la familia, the family. So student A, our very good friend, doesn't study the family members. Student B glances at the words. Student C takes her, let's make it a girl now, her time, takes her time and she studies the words. So they go to the classroom the next day. The teacher says, okay, let's talk about family. And starts to describe the family members of, say, his or her family, students, the teacher's family. Student A hears a lot of da-da-da-da-da-da. There's nothing in his brain to access. Student B hears a few words that he or she can remember. And student 3, she hears a lot of the words. In other words, what she's doing there, she's accessing that information based on her prior knowledge. She's reinforcing her knowledge, and you can be assured that that knowledge of family is going to remain for a long time. Take your verbs. You study the verb, for example, I went, fui in Spanish. Fue is she went. Typically, a lot of students misplace those two, they misuse the two words. They say fue is yo, and the fui as el. But if you learn fui very well the first time, you practice it a lot, and anytime you want to say I went, fui, that's it. Fui will remain I went, even after you get married with a dozen children, you die, and fui will remain I went. So if you learn fui very well the first time, you don't have to access fui because fui is nowhere in your lexicon or in your brain. It's just fui. Now, let's talk about, I said, learning. So you have learning as a building process, a building a house. So the knowledge that you build in it. And the more solid the knowledge is, the far better your proficiency level will be. So there's another principle that we use is you already have an advanced cognitive development. It means therefore that we don't treat you like babies. You're not acquiring the language, you're learning the language. It means you can use your prior knowledge of English to help you learn Spanish or French or Portuguese or whatever. So that's very nice that you have an advanced cognitive development. Never knew that you had that. And the third principle is very basic. Your proficiency, your level of proficiency is based heavily on your exposure to and interaction with the language. So if you have to listen, for example, to tapes outside of the classroom, you listen to the tapes. It's going to help you with your comprehension. If you don't listen to the tapes and you hear it for the first time, it's going to be hard to process. Remember, if you don't have any prior knowledge, it's hard to access new information. It's new information, and what typically happens in a classroom especially is you can be cognitively overloaded because you have nothing to pin or to access when you hear new information, versus if you have an idea of some topic, you already know what the person is talking about. Let me give an example for those who don't know Spanish. If you've never done Spanish before, and I say, me llamo Ronald Leow, you don't have to know me llamo means my name is. You're using the context of my name, of the name, and therefore logically this my name is. And if I say soy profesor en el departamento de español y portugués, you don't have to understand every single word, but the fact that I'm talking about myself and you hear certain cognates, you're exposed to those things as often as you can is going to help you with your language learning. So finally, I want to look at it more from the macro or the programmatic perspective of learning. Beginning Spanish, Intro 1, is like pouring the cement. You're pouring the cement to build that foundation. Intermediate is just simply putting up the structure, the frames, and the windows, and the roof, and the fancy kitchen gadgets and everything. But if you don't have that cement poured in Intro 1 and Intro 2, your house is going to collapse. So in other words, all I'm saying is very simple. This is the strategy I want to leave it with you. You go prepared always to your class. If you go prepared, it means that you have some prior knowledge of what's going to be discussed. You access that prior knowledge when you're hearing the information, and you reinforce your knowledge. Very simple. And the nice part about it is, I'm not talking about language learning. I'm talking about learning. Punto final.